Hello everyone, I'm Wes, and welcome to Retro Console Repairs and Mods. On this channel we give old school consoles and handhelds some TLC, fresh upgrades, and slick mods. If you like what I do, please remember to smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, and share the video with everyone you know. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been a little while since I've actually been here. I've been kind of busy with work. And I really haven't had a whole lot to work on that I thought would be very interesting for the channel. But today I do have a little something interesting. So a couple weeks ago I picked up a Sega CD, Model 2 Sega CD to be exact. No issues with this Sega CD. It works perfectly fine. But I want to do a little bit of maintenance on it as well as some upgrades. So what we're going to do on the channel this time is a capacitor kit. So I have a Console 5... Sega CD Model 2 capacitor kit for a Sony Sega CD, which is what this one is right here. The way you can tell is if you actually go to the back of your Sega CD right here, there is a code on here. I believe it is this SNA code that's right down here in the bottom corner. So this one means that it's a Sony, and then there's another brand that is, I think it's Funai or something like that. So you want to make sure that you order the capacitor kit and the parts that are appropriate for the model Sega CD that you have. So we're going to be doing a capacitor kit on this, as well as we're going to be doing an FRAM upgrade on this. So there is SRAM in this that requires a button cell battery. So here is the 3-volt coin cell, button cell, whatever you want to call it, battery to keep that.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
The Sega CD comes with SRAM, which requires the 3-volt button cell battery to maintain your game saves. So if that button cell ever dies, you lose your game saves. The FRAM that we're going to be replacing it with does not require that trickle charge from the 3-volt button cell, so we're going to just remove it. And then in addition to that, we're going to be putting this socket on the board and this region-free BIOS. So I can play Japanese copy of Sonic CD that actually has the good music. So without further delay, we're going to go ahead and get started on this. I'm actually going to do the BIOS upgrade first. Make sure that this thing continues to operate the way that it's supposed to. Then we'll do the FRAM upgrade. And then lastly, we will do the capacitors. So I want to make sure that we don't do everything at one time, because I want to make sure it continues to operate the way that it's supposed to before each of the upgrades, because that way, if something does go sideways, I can kind of know what it was that did it. So there you go. I'm going to switch cameras and we'll get started on this the BIOS update. All right, so I've never worked on a Sega CD before, so we're going to take this nice and slow and see how we can do. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing taken apart. So to do that, we're just going to flip it over. It looks like there's just 6 screws holding this together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go ahead and get those screws out. All right, so I think that should be all of the screws that are holding the lid on here. Let's open this up, make sure there's nothing there. Might have to take a look at that as well. There we go. And there we go. We are in. This thing is super dusty on the inside. I mean, like, super dusty. So we'll give this thing a good cleaning while we're in here. What amazes me is that as old as these are, I could still get the laser for this if I need it. So it's actually quite amazing. Some of the newer consoles, I mean, even the Dreamcast, good luck getting a laser. GameCube, can't get a laser for it. Old Sega CD, still get a laser for it. Might have to take this out. Looks like this just sticks in there, so we'll go ahead and remove that. Definitely want to be careful with these ribbons, because while I might be able to get a laser, I can probably get this ribbon, but I definitely don't want to break anything. And it looks like we have these two screws right here that hold the socket in. That one's a little longer, that screw's a little longer than the other ones. Nothing unusual there. A lot of times they are. Okay. And then that'll come out. And there we go. We got our board. Alright, I'm going to take this over, put it over here, and then here's our coin cell that we're going to replace, and here is our BIOS chip. You can see that sits right underneath of this. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get my desolder gun, because it's going to make this job a lot easier trying to remove this BIOS chip. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to heat up my desoldering iron and then remove the solder from all these joints here that hold this region-free BIOS, or that hold this original BIOS chip in place. So you can see this on the camera. Bring it up a little closer. It's all these pins right here and all these pins right here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get that started. Yeah, there we go. There we go, BIOS chip out. Looks good. Okay. Now let's take this socket and we're going to put this socket in its place, so that way we can swap this BIOS chip out really super easy if we ever need to again. Okay, that's better. Alright, so let's take a little bit of IPA and clean up the work that we just did. That looks pretty good. Alright, let's get this button cell changed out. So the thing that we want to worry about here is we want to worry about which side goes where. So this is going to be the positive side up on the top. So if you are keeping the SRAM in your console, you probably want to change the button cell while you're in here, or put a button cell holder in like I'm doing here. Otherwise, if you're putting the FRAM in, you can just remove it entirely. And there we go. Alright. That'll definitely work. Alright, back to it. A little bit of flux. And that's that. So here is our region-free BIOS. So the way we could tell which way this went is this chip has a little notch out of the top right here. So basically this is the way this chip sat before. And if we look at my new region-free BIOS that's here, it has that very same notch up here. So all we're going to do is we're just going to take this out, put it into this socket, and push down. Make sure it's all lined up. And there we go. Yep, we're all locked in. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back together, just enough that I can test it, because I want to make sure that everything works with it before I go ahead and do the next part of this, which is going to be the FRAM upgrade. Alright, I'll see you guys back here in a few minutes. Alright, so we've got this thing all back apart again. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to change this chip here, which is currently SRAM and requires the coin cell battery to keep your game saves alive. We're actually going to change it out for this chip right here, which is FRAM, which does not require this chip right here. So to do that, we're going to use our hot air soldering station to heat this up, and then we're going to just lift that chip right off. Okay, that'll work. So all we're going to do here is just take our time and heat up the solder around this chip. And there we go. Alright. So I'm just going to take and put a little bit of fresh solder on these and then take off whatever's there with some solder wick so that I can just use fresh solder on the new chip. Come in and clean up this flux that I just put down. Now before I install this new chip, we need to lift two of the legs on this chip. We need to lift leg number 1 and leg number 26. And both of those legs need to go to ground. So here's my chip, and all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to bend pin number 1 up, just like that. And there's 14 legs on here. So if I go around, this will be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So it should be the third one from the end here. So I'm just going to use my tweezers and lift that leg as well. Alright, so then I'm just going to put this chip down, right back on the board, get it centered as best as I can, and then I'm going to apply some flux and tack these corners. There we go. See if I can move this down just a little bit. Hopefully that's okay. And now I'm just going to tack these legs in the corners here. And that chip moved again. That actually looks pretty good. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so the last piece we got to do is we have to run a wire from 1 and 26 to ground, and ground is actually pin number 14. So we can run it to right here if we want to. I'm going to take this over to the microscope real quick so I can show you guys what I did. Alright, so here's what I did. I just grabbed a tool here. So what we did was we soldered a wire from this pin, from this leg right here. This leg is raised, and that wire is completely loose. It's not touching any of these other legs or anything. Even if it did, it's a coated wire, so it should be fine. So that runs around here to pin 1, which is also raised up. So you can see underneath of here that's not attached to the board. And then that runs over here to pin 14. Again, this is not attached here. I will run a test here to make sure that this is not actually attached, and I'll trim this wire off because I don't like the way that it's just kind of hanging out there. But yeah, so this right here should replace my SRAM chip with an FRAM chip. So I'm just going to go through here and make sure that my legs are all attached. Go ahead and make sure that we have connectivity between pin 26 here and pin 1, which we should. That's good. What we don't want is any other pins having, so that's good. This one, nothing there, so yep, we're all good there. Okay, so that SRAM chip has been replaced by this FRAM chip. All right, I'm gonna go give it a test and see how it does. Okay, I think I got this thing set up enough that we can actually test it out. It's not hooked up the best, but it's enough to test the Sega CD. So the first thing I got to do is I got to format this internal memory. And then we get to this thing, put a disk in. Now something should pop up top. There we go. We want to go to that. All right. Save file created. There we go. All right, so it looks like our FRAM is good to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and open the disk drive here and hit the reset button because I want to make sure that I see that. And then we should have files on the memory here. So one saved item and free memory is 124. There we go. All right, cool. All right, so I think this video has gone long enough. I do want to do a recap on this console, but I'm really not worried about it right now. I'm kind of happy where it's at. It is working right now, so I'll do this on another video. But yeah, so there we go. I have a Sega CD that we replaced with a region-free BIOS, and then also we did an FRAM upgrade. So there you go. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all the next time.